Right, thank you very much for staying there with us. It's still the First Capital Plus Premier League show on the Joy Sports Channel and Multi TV. I'm George Adde Jr. Now, let's hear from you, especially if you're a Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan. You want to know what is happening in your club. We'll be giving you all the updates because I have a man who is well-to-do in terms of the information when it comes to Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And really, how are you shaping? Because, you know, the league hasn't started, but Kumasi Asante Kotoko know they are in the African Champions League, and that is coming on anyway. Nobody has stopped that. Nobody has put an injunction on the CAF Champions League, and so they know they have to prepare for that. That's on one side. Later on, we'll also be talking about what's happening really with the other teams. But first on the bill, we'll be getting on to Garka and finding out what they are doing about the league. The Ghana Football Association promised that there was going to be a league put in place whilst the league delay persists so that the clubs can get themselves warming up. There was a crucial meeting yesterday. We'll get into all of that. We'll be getting Isaac Kumsing on the line pretty shortly. Now, though, let me introduce my guest for tonight. And he's none other than Jerome Autry. He writes for Kotoko Express. And these days, the editor of Kotoko Express.
No, I'm a senior reporter.
Okay, I was going to push you. I was going to give you one up there.
No, just the editor for Asante Kotoko, HC.com. That's the online.
Online, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic, Jerome Autry. So tonight, you'll be letting us into loads of Kotoko news. Then, but just before that, just coming on the back of that, like you know, yeah, the Black Stars managed to beat Togo by 3-1. And just trying to do a little link with that, with the players that have come from the First Capital Plus Premier League, really. Sometimes we look down on our league, Jerome, really. But today we saw the likes of Solomon Asante, you know, Baba Rahman, who have played in the league and coming out and proving to those who didn't start here, really, especially with that competition between Christian Achu and what Solomon Asante can do. A lot of difference today.
I mean, there's no doubt about the quality of our league. I mean, the talents are there. It's about how we've been able to get the best out of them. Because I am sure that if we had not given Solomon Asante the chance to play, we probably wouldn't have seen him as a good player. I remember Kwesi Appiah used him during the AFCON 2013, okay. And we could tell against Burkina Faso that even though he's diminutive in stature, he has a talent and it cuts across. Maybe
I dare say that players like Abeku Anderson could do better than the likes of John Boy in the defense of the Black Stars.
It's all about whether or not we'll give them the chance. If you give them the chance, you encourage them to do what you expect them to do, they'll do it. I mean, all these players that today are called stars, the likes of Ajiman Bedu, I mean, they all played in the local.
Has a track record of playing.
So it's about we deciding on who is the best on the local scene, when to give him the chance, and encourage them. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll get a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm going through a lot of challenges because this is the First Capital Plus Premier. We talk about the products here, and I can talk about Joseph Addo, and you dare me, he can be in the post for the Black Stars across those Razak Brimers and you know, Stephen Adams. Anyway, Stephen Adams and Patel Dal, that's still in the First Capital Plus Premier League. So we're producing players for the Black Stars, and we enjoy that. Now let's get into the real issues. But first of all, before we talk to Isaac Kumsing, who is the Vice Chairman of the Ghana League Club Association, let's hear Kwesi Nyantakyi on the promise to have a league in place. And he gave a timeline. Listen to this.
Also an issue of concern to the executive committee. We are so concerned about the delay in the start of the league arising out of a legal dispute between King Faisal Football Club and the Football Association. Nobody can determine the duration a case takes in court or how long it travels in court. But we have made a petition to Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, to put the necessary mechanism in place that will give us an expedited hearing of the case, so the rights of the parties can be determined as quickly as possible for us to know when the league will start. The meeting with the Chief Justice will take place on Monday, and we hope that we will be given a judge who will have time to sit on the case on a day-by-day basis. So the position of the Football Association is that we should pursue the legal case to its logical conclusion. In the meantime, we have put in place a 3-man committee to come up with proposals on a competition that will keep clubs and their players busy whilst the court case is going on. And that committee is made up of Messrs. Papo, Fianu, and Doku, who are expected to submit a proposal very soon to the executive committee for approval and implementation. We'll explore avenues to secure money to support the clubs to play this novel competition, which will occupy the vacuum created arising from the absence of the
Novel competition to be or not to be. It's 2 weeks since the Ghana Football Association President Kwesi Nyantakyi promised this. Joining us on the line is Isaac Kumsin, who is the Vice Chairman of the Ghana Leagues Club Association in this country. Why not? Thank you very much, Mr. Kumsin, for joining us, and welcome to the first Capital Plus Premier League. I have to say, your show on Joy Sports.
Thank you, George, and good evening to your listeners.
Right. Mr. Kumsin, first of all, where have we gotten with this? You know, the committee is supposed to be set, and I'm sure the committee had to work in tandem with the Ghana League Clubs Association. What new can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, George, again. Before I proceed in that direction, let me all take opportunity to congratulate our gallant Black Stars who have made it to the AFCON 2015. It is with joy that we saw what happened today, and every football person, I'm sure, is very happy for this qualification. We needed this badly because of the situation we find ourselves, and in fact, it is good we have something to cheer about. Moving forward, yes, thank you very much, and good you played back the promises or the points made by our football president, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi. Yes, following from that press conference, GACA had its emergency General Assembly meeting on Monday, 17th November. And we also came to conclusion that, yes, in order for us to forestall litigation in football, in order for us to not to find ourselves in this darkness that has befallen Ghana football, the court issue must travel to its logical conclusion. That is position of all the clubs, at least, the members that came to the meeting. So in absence of that, what should we put in place? And you remember that GACA, its first meeting with the clubs, had made a proposal that they wanted to put some competition in place in order to while away time, in order to keep the teams and clubs busy, so that they don't feel the heat. They have to have something doing.
That was months before Kwesi Nyantakyi came with his.
Most definitely. And since FA President too, they took the discussion on the table forward by forming a committee to see to the modalities. And when we met on 17th, it came to light that, yes, they have taken the sale out of GACA's mouth, but it's not too late. They are talking about the premiership. And GACA also further thinks that because it has affected the premiership, it is having a toll effect on the Division 1. And therefore, we can't form any competition or play any competition and leave the Division 1 teams behind. Therefore, the thinkers or the committee who are planning a strategy to have some competition in place should also think of some competition for the Division 1 clubs, or whether they will combine the two to have a sort of competition. So in order to make that materialize in a way that it will benefit all of us, GACA proposed additional 3 members to be added to GFA's committee, so that they can also bring the Division 1 perspective to it and have a good competition that will help the clubs to while away the time that will be in court. Meanwhile, we are very much aware that if God willing, 20th, which is coming Friday, if God willing and all things being equal, judgment will be delivered, and the way maybe will be clear for us to move on. But if it doesn't happen the way we expect, then this competition must also take place.
So where are you now in that? Are you still in the meeting process? Because I guess you've been meeting over the last 2 weeks. You said you've added 3 more to the committee. Is the committee still putting the proposal together, or you have stepped out to do something?
Exactly. We have said our position, and the 3-member committee are also going to champion that position to the committee that FA set up, so that we can get a competition not for only the Premier, but also consider the FA, consider the Division 1 league clubs. That's the point I'm making. Besides that, there was also a proposal for changes and reforms in the running of our league, which also came into the force strongly. And in order for us not to do anything that will not allow our football to go on well, we also decided to also form another committee that will look at, we have a German model, we have the UK model and the South African model that we have gone to study. So they should compare notes and then find out which one will be more appropriate for Ghana's situation. Then we can call another Congress and approve of it, and then call emergency Congress at the GFA level and see how we get our reforms also done.
Right.
And in brief, that is what has taken place over the last Monday that we met.
Just one question, and trying to clear it up for the viewers to follow, closely. With the issue about opening it up for Division 1 as well, when the initial plan was Premier League, aren't you biting more than you can chew, really? Because it's already something to get the teams playing one, and to get them some money as well. It must be lucrative, because even when they play their normal friendlies, they get some money. So you need to give them some money. And already we have seen some competitions in the past that really haven't worked. I mean, very recent past, I'm talking about, top 4 and the like, in terms of the monetary part of it. Aren't you biting more than you can chew if you're adding Division 1 to it, Mr. Koomson?
If you are understanding me, it is not GACA that is organizing in the first place. From the
and I don't mean GACA. I mean Ghana Football Association. But putting them together.
What you must understand is that if we had played the league from that date that we was set for us, at least we'll be in the 10th week by now. You understand?
Yeah.
And then the Division 1 league might also about starting. They might have closed their registration and about kick-starting in December. What I'm invariably saying is that the delay of the league cannot go on, or the Division 1 cannot play league while the Premier is.
So you're saying it would be unfair to have only Premier League be in action and leave the divisions out?
You can't. It's not about unfair issue. The laws will not even allow that.
Okay.
Because there should be promotion and demotions at all levels.
Yeah.
So if this is going on, it is having effect on this. So the point we are making is that because the Premier couldn't kick off, it's having a total effect on the Division 1 for also to kick off.
Okay, I think you make a point.
Division 1 is also in limbo.
Yeah, you made the point.
Do you organize a competition for Premier and leave Division 1 in that darkness?
Okay,
that's the question we are
so they go on and on. Let's try and clear this as well. Looking at the fallout from the meeting as well, there have been rumors, maybe you can clear this up for us on the show, that Alhaji Grusa, owner of Ken Faisal, wasn't excited about some comments that were made, that seemed to be maybe contemptuous so far as he was concerned.
Yes, I wouldn't say no. Yes, Alhaji Grusa, in the meeting, in his comment, appears not to be happy about some comments. But if you ask me, I will tell you, I don't know exact comment that he wasn't happy with. The clubs have, during the meeting, have suggested that it is time GFA work with the rules and regulations that they themselves have set. They themselves, when I say they themselves, I'm talking about the clubs, have set for themselves. It is time it is applied. So whether it is that statement that didn't go that well with him, I couldn't say, because in his response or in his contribution made us feel that he wasn't happy in some comments, but he couldn't come out categorically to say A or B, but he made us.
Is Alhaji going to be part of the program you're putting up, the Premier League and Division 1 program? Is Alhaji's club going to play?
Most definitely, in my position, you couldn't take Alhaji out. I keep on telling everybody that GACA is a welfare body, and King Faisal is our member, until otherwise. You understand?
Okay, so you are dealing with the teams that were in the Premier League. So you are dealing with the 16 teams that were in the Premier League. So far as demotion and promotion.
We are dealing with the 19 teams that are potential Premier teams.
Okay, well. That's interesting. I think that's where the whole thing really is. So the 19 teams are going to play. So it's a test run for the 18-team league we are calling for.
31.
I mean it's a test run for the 18-club league people are calling for.
Oh no, it is not a test run. What we are trying to do is that there are potential 3 clubs that have qualified, if all teams being equal, to play Premier.
Okay.
So anytime you want to play league, these 3 teams will be part of it. Okay. So why do you ignore them? You understand?
Okay. But has Alhaji indicated that he will have to play?
Oh, that one it is a decision that he has to take. But
he hasn't made it yet. He hasn't told you yet.
he is also going to the hall of the legal issue.
Okay.
And therefore, we have to concentrate on how we play. So if he will play, he is welcome, and we are not going to take him out. And I'm not sure FA is also in the position to take any club out. We are talking about that 19 clubs and see how we can get one from the Division 1 to join them. Then we see how the permutations and other things will be done. We are leaving that to the committee that has been put.
Finally, any special plans for any special plans for teams who are or who have Africa in sight, like Kotoko?
Our main worry, one of them has been the teams that are going to Africa, and it is one of the urgent and more urgent reason why we think that there should be a competition for them to play. Otherwise, you and I know that all the clubs are playing friendly matches. But if you are going to play in a competition like Africa, you don't just need friendly matches. We need tested and competitive matches to play. And that is why we are eager to have those matches available so that Kotoko can be in proper action and get ready for Africa.
Okay, Mr. Koomson, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Isaac Koomson is Vice Chairman of the Ghana Leagues Clubs Association now, of course, here. And it's interesting. Well, Jerome has been smiling throughout. Some time to find out from Jerome what he makes of all of this. And, well, Jerome, I don't know what you think. But anyway, I'm very sure as we move on, we'll also have a look at what's happening with the Referees Association. They also have issues there as well. We'll try and get to Referee Kote and see if we can get it. Apparently, he's not too excited, Referee Kote, who is a top member of it. And you know, from my sources, he's been suspended. But my question is, how can he be suspended? Because he's the boss. The boss can't suspend himself. Well, that's Ghana football for you. Let's talk about, you know, this league and all of that. What do you make of it, Joe?
Well, I think in the first place, it is unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation like this, where we do not know exactly what the way forward is for our local game. As you pointed out from the beginning, the national team is built from what is on the domestic level. And so if the talents are there, but there are no competition for them to exhibit what they have in them, then clearly there is a problem. It is important that the FA is doing something about it. I am supportive of their decision to go the full haul. I mean, to ensure that justice is done, damn the consequences. And I just feel, or I just hope that the next hearing of that case, there will be judgment.
And looking at the 20th.
Yeah, so that all of us can be happy and know that in the long run, or at long last, there is judgment, and that is this is what the judgment says. Meanwhile, I mean, while we wait for judgment, I like the fact that the FA is doing something to keep the clubs active.
The question has been, is it feasible? I mean, is it possible, really?
I mean, I'm always an optimist. I do not want to look at the negative side of things or look at things from the negative point of view until there are reasons to do so. As I sit here, I think that the FA should be given the benefit of the doubt. They should tell us how that competition is going to be played. I mean, the format, the number of clubs. I heard you asking Mr. Koomson whether it's going to be 19 clubs, and he said no. It will be inclusive of the Division 1 clubs, which, in my view, poses a challenge because what is going to be the duration? Is it going to be on until the case is over? What if the case ends on the 20th? What are we going to do? Are we going to abandon the knockout competition, or we'll go ahead with it and suspend the league? Because if the league is going to start, let's say in December, what is the likelihood that we'll be able to finish it by May? So it's a whole confusing situation, but I would want to give the FA the benefit of the doubt. I would want to see what the committee will do. I mean, the kind of league that they would want us to play. And then, is there going to be a champion in the end? If it is going to be, if there will be a champion in the end, would that champion be qualified to play in Africa next year? Because these are things we must look at. It is not, it shouldn't be the fact that there's no competition, so we are just preparing something for the clubs to play, and then in the end, when the case is over, they will revert to the normal league. I think that is a good thing, but we should be very careful so that in the end, in trying to solve one problem, we will not create another problem.
Well, I think you made a fantastic point there. And then we can hear from you as well on our Facebook page as Joy Sports, okay? And also on our show code 1760. Okay, let's hear from 1760. Not just that as well. We talk about the fact that money is needed in this. And yes, the clubs have been complaining about that. And if the FA has really not gotten the timelines, and as we speak, it looks like they're still at the committee level.
Yes.
I'm afraid to say, well, you want to be an optimist.
Yeah.
But I think it's easy to say it doesn't look like it will come to fruition.
Yes, very easy to say so, but that is an area I don't want to go because you see, the moment we go into the discussion with a preconceived mind that it won't work, you limit your ability to even think as to what can be done.
Out of the box around.
Yeah, because if we say that such a competition cannot be organized, then those of us saying that should provide an alternative. Then what do? Do we leave the clubs to play their friendly matches and then, like I suggested in an article some time ago, that perhaps we should be looking at the clubs that is playing more friendly matches, whether or not that club is winning, and then in the end we should award him, we should award that club something.
Maybe is that what you guys are? Is that what you guys are actually thinking about now? Because you've been playing loads of
yes.
friendlies.
Yeah, we've been doing so because we believe something must be done. It's just an untidy situation. Something must be done. Kotoko started its pre-season somewhere in August. It was supposed to end in the middle of September. And as we sit here, we are still playing matches. Yeah. I was talking to the coach this morning and I was asking him exactly what is he going to do tomorrow, because you see, after our last game against the Togolese champions, the boys went on break and they are coming back tomorrow. When they come back tomorrow, what is the plan going to be like? And he was telling me he's going to employ economic methods of training. And I was asking him exactly what is that?
What was that?
I've never heard that before. And he was telling me two things. The boys don't have to be tired. And secondly, they must be kept active.
Oh, okay.
So what you do is that in as much as they train and play matches, you must ensure that they also conserve energy, so that anytime the league starts,
they can go.
They can go. So it's a complex situation we find ourselves in. And I think that we must be supportive of the FA to come up with something that in the end will help the clubs. I don't like what I'm hearing, that we are going to add the Division 1 clubs. Left to me alone, we should have two competitions, one for the Premier League clubs and the other for the Division 1.
So is the template going to be some bit of like an FA Cup template? We're going to be adding Division 1?
Something like that. Because
again, I was saying that if the excuse is that, okay, Division 1 Cup, but I think what if Division 1 is also not working? Division 2 is not working. It's everything in football that's...
What we should do is to identify why we are going for this competition. Okay. We are going for it solely to help the clubs remain active. It should be made clear so that in the end, you don't have a situation where some clubs will be complaining that they didn't play many matches. Because the reason I am saying the Division 1 clubs should be allowed to play their own competition sort of is that in that case, it will be at their level. So that Kotoko, for instance, traveling to, say, Kintampo to play a Division 2 club there would definitely attract fans. But if you put that Division 2 club in Kumasi against Kotoko, that club may suffer. So we must look at it from the financial point too. So that if, for instance, as I speak to you, there are plans to bring Kotoko to Accra to play Great Olympics, I mean, chances are that spectators will be there. Olympics and Kotoko may get something bigger. But if you put Olympics in Kintampo, for example, Olympics may not get anything. And the club there may also not get anything, because even there, it is difficult to manage the gates. Because most of the Division 1 or 2 clubs do not play.
Well, I think what you're saying is just in line with my next video, because my next video is about Kwasi Nyantakyi talking really about sponsorship coming to Division 1. Maybe they have the sponsorship. They can also look at keeping themselves in one competition aside what the Premier League clubs would do. Just underlining that. First of all, let's listen to Kwasi Nyantakyi on that. And when we come back, some more analysis will follow.
The committee also approved a request from an agency to secure sponsorship for the First Division League, the Division 1 League. We've received a proposal for 600,000 Ghana cedi sponsorship for the First Division League. And we have also put a committee in place to finalize the details of that sponsorship package. At the right time, we'll be meeting the First Division clubs to brief them and also to take their input into the new sponsorship arrangement for the First Division League.
Well, all the great players we see, most of them come from Division 1, and if you know, I mean, he will tell you, Jerome, they go fishing. Yes, I know sometimes Kotoko have the money, so they can go around and get. They can get players from Accra Hartsville, players who are due to sign Accra Hartsville. They could get them even though. I'm talking about Ameturi, who've been playing. That story is another thing altogether. We won't go there, but. Yes, Division 1, let's talk about it. Division 1, I'm not too sure. They never had, sponsorship was because of the Politan coming in sometime. But what really is the problem with Division 1?
They have problems. And if you've had a chance to watch some of their matches, which I know you have, you will appreciate the kind of problems they have. I mean, they play at virtually backyards. Backyards.
You can call them parks.
Yes, parks. I don't want to call them parks because
even parks are neater.
Even at the Premier level, we play at parks. But seriously, they have problems that are so many or too many to talk of.
So much.
For example,
it's not to be thinking about sponsorship now. It's rather to be putting structures in place.
No, but we must be thinking about sponsorship while we also try to put the structures there.
Side by side.
For example, if you have a Division 1 club that plays on a school park, how does that club raise money from the gates? Because, I mean, at the school parks, there's no way of checking who comes in and what he pays. It is always a difficulty for such clubs to raise money from the gates. So the moment some form of sponsorship comes in, it helps them to get something little to push their programs and activities. And so if the FA chairman or president announces that about 600,000 Ghana cedis is coming in as sponsorship for them, I will clap for them. I will clap for the FA, not because I think they are doing something big, but because they are moving from 0.0 to 1, which is a plus, because the clubs play with nothing. I mean, there was a time that they were paying officiating fees, and I was asking myself, if I am a club owner and I have to pay a referee to officiate my match, then what am I doing? In the end, I am telling the referee to give the game to me. Because then, assuming I'm to pay 9 cedis to the referee for a game, and I decide to give him twice that, chances are that he's going to officiate one way or the other in my favor. So this sponsorship for the Division 1 clubs, it's very good. No matter how small it may look like, we have to applaud the FA. We have to applaud those who are coming in with that money to support our Division 1 clubs, because they are really struggling. Another problem they face has got to do with security. And it is not just security for the referees, but also for the players, also for the team officials. Because I have watched Division 1 matches, like I said, which are played at school parks.
And often they don't even get the full set of officials.
Exactly. And when you have a situation where, even at the Premier level, you have fans breaking inner perimeters to get onto the pitch, what happens in the case of Division 1 matches where matches are played at venues where there are no fences or inner perimeters? And so these are some of the problems they are facing. And it's a whole lot. I believe that if the FA will help them by, and that's where I sometimes blame GACA for some of these things. I mean, the argument is that they are just a welfare body, which is not bad, but they can go beyond being a welfare body.
And they say they'll need the powers. They'll need the powers to do that.
You see,
they want to be given the powers to do that.
I sometimes don't buy that argument, because if I were the chairman of GACA, I don't know what will stop me from going to, say, financial institutions or even management institutions to appeal to them, organize seminars for our club owners and club administrators about how they can understand, I mean, the very issues they deal with. Because I strongly believe that our clubs are not managed well. And this is not about even the Division 1. It starts from the Premier level. Those clubs at the Premier level Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, whatever level, are not managed well. And it is not because they do not want to do what we think is right. It is because they don't know how to. So that is one area GALCA can exploit. And they don't need, the powers of a court or even the FA to do that.
So you're saying on the lines of just try to empower your clubs to do the right thing.
There is a high possibility that when they are told or when they are lectured on some of the things they do, they will know that it takes virtually nothing to, for instance, get a management structure in place. I always cite this example. A point in time, Kotoko was buying water from the market. Any of those mineral water for players to drink after training and during matches. Now somebody comes in, a manager comes in and feels that you spend too much on water. Why not draft a proposal to, say, a mineral water company for sponsorship? 1, 2, 3 proposals were sent. At the end of the day, one responded, and today that company sponsors Kotoko. So it is about how we see management to be. If we see it as always putting 11 players on the pitch, then we will never go anywhere. But when we go beyond putting 11 players on the pitch, understanding that even before those players get onto the pitch, there should be structures, there should be clearly defined policies for development, then we'll be doing something. And this one doesn't take money to do.
And it doesn't take the needed power, as the company we're talking about. They want to be, but I think it's also been the cry of the Premier League board. They say they really want to control it. So let's see. Isaac was talking about the German model, the Nigerian model, the UK model.
Yeah,
get somebody on to run the league. But I've also done a little bit of research on that, and what we practice here is not alien to the world. People do practice that and are still doing well. I was surprised to note some of the countries that practice the system we have now with the FA pool, in pole position. But is it about those around and those who are not making the system work, or the system is just bad?
I think it's about, systems are systems.
It's the people who do it.
Yes.
I think we can keep with our system, but we need to put what we need to do. Because I was surprised, just come off the top of my head, the likes of, in Spain, they have our system where the FA is in control directly and all of that. So it's not just, initially when the argument started, I was like, oh yeah, why don't we just give it on to them? But I sat down, I went around the number of countries and I'm like, these countries are also doing the same as we do. It's about the people placed there.
Exactly. Systems are systems, like you said. What we are sitting here doing, we're on television. Television cameras are covering us or are capturing whatever we are saying. When you go to the United States, it's the same television cameras that way.
Which actually putting out there.
So it's about how we do it that matters, and not the kind of system that we want.
Okay, let's keep it there. We'll come back and talk some more. We have to take a short break, and indeed, when we roll back, there's a lot to do. Well, we had a lot from Jerome, but when we come back, we're pushing him a bit because we're going to find out what Kotoko is really up to for the season, and he's going to be sweating a bit under that because we need to see Kotoko do well in Africa. We're tired of those going to the first round and out of it. No. If you're the champion of Ghana, you must go out there and prove it. They have done it before. I was shocked when I checked the number of times Kotoko have been in the final. Noah, they could have been on the LLE, they went out to the finals and won it. That's what Kotoko have done before, and they should be able to get back to those days. We'll take a short break. When we come back, there's more on the show. Right, so the First Capital Plus Premier League show of the Joy Sports Channel Multi TV. I'm George Addy Jr. Yes, now time to talk about Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Jerome is here, and lately you guys have been playing all the friendlies. Really, what's going into this?
Well, I think it's as a result of what we've been talking about, the non-start of the league or the delayed start of the league, which it's affecting everybody, including the folks at Asante Kotoko. We also realize that because we'll be playing in Africa next year, you have to keep the team competitive. And if that is not done, we risk a high chance of not doing anything.
In Africa.
And that has been the trend. Even when the league was in session, even when we were winning the league, we've won the league 3 times on the trot. We've not been able to go beyond the third round of the competition.
Now, before we get to the Africa Day, let's talk about the recruitment of players, because you've really been out there.
Yeah.
And yes, you wear red like Liverpool wear red. They were out there buying everything. And you've gone out there, bought quite a lot.
Well,
coming in, there's Habibu Dramani. There's everybody there is really in Kotoko at the moment.
I think we first of all have to commend the management and the technical team for doing what I would call a very good recruitment, because when we started, it was really bad. I mean, more or less, some of us didn't want the team to play in the GACA top 4, but we did, and we were exposed. And right after the top 4 ended, we purchased, I think, 4 or 5 players, and we added a couple more, like 3 or 4 later on, before ending up at 10. And given the fact that we had sent out roughly 11, it was more or less replacing what we had sent out. And it is good because the quality we have seen so far, it's an improvement on what was there previously. And the expectation is that if we were able to win the league with that good quality of last season, then the kind of quality we've been able to assemble now, which we think is better than what we had last season, should be able to get us at a better place in Africa. And I mean, sometimes some of our fans make it feel like those of us in there are not concerned about our bad performances in Africa. I have said that we should set realistic targets in Africa. And talking about realistic target, what I mean is, if you check the last 2 times that we've been in Africa, we've not been able to go beyond the second round. In the first instance, which was last season, we were kicked out by JSM Bajaya in the second round. In the first round this season, we were also kicked out by BYC of Liberia. And so, in assessing the team, I think what we should be doing is to look at how we can get to the third round of the competition. If we get to the third round of the competition, we have 2 choices.
Someone said Kotoko is bigger than that.
No, of
Kotoko
course.
has won the Champions.
Of course.
World Cup Champions League. Has been to the final 7 times.
George.
And so Kotoko cannot be thinking about a third round.
George.
That is, you call it a realistic target, but
No,
I think
but
those watching us in Kumasi now say this is totally unrealistic.
I totally agree with them, but we also need to face realities, and one of the realities is that when you have not been able to get to the league stage in the last 10 years, you don't think of winning the championship.
Okay.
Because I mean, how do you win the championship when?
Yes, and it just backs the point, because in years when Kotoko won, they probably were second,
yes,
and they were first,
and so
they won the final.
The point I'm trying to make is that let us look at how we can get to the league stage, and you cannot get to the league stage if you don't get to the third round of the competition.
But well, still a team can come in for the first time and win.
No, of course, but I'm saying that we should properly do an assessment of our strength, and I'm saying that.
But upon all that you bought, all the players that have come in,
no, I think that the current team we have now should be able to get to the third round of the competition. And when we get to the third round, like I was saying, we have 2 choices: to qualify and get to the league stage, or drop and get to the Confederation Cup,
okay,
which is also another competition we can win, doing our things well. And so it's not as if I'm saying we should just go qualify, get to the league, to the third round, and come out. What I'm saying is that the benchmark should be the third round. The worst performance should be the third round, so that failure at the third round may give us the opportunity to play in the Confederation.
That's coming from a purely administrative, point of view. But hey, that would be good to set realistic targets. But I don't think Kotoko fans are going to even forgive you if you come out the third round.
No, we are. I'm not saying that we should make.
That should be it. But you're saying it should be the realistic. Bar.
so that when you are able to get there, you're able to also manage expectations. Because the problem has been that the moment the Africa competition starts, the target is to win. I mean, I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying that let us look at the kind of strength we have. Do we have the strength that the likes of Pirates in South Africa, the likes of TP Mazembe have?
AS Vita recently, final,
yes.
loads of investments.
The honest answer is no. I mean, let's not deceive ourselves. Kotoko has not been able to play in the league stage in the last 10 years or so, if I'm correct. The last time we played in the league stage was in 2006.
That's right.
So that's 8 years. But before 2006, it took us 10 years to play there. I mean, by our standards, by our high standards, that is not where we should be playing.
Well, I side on you with that because lately, really, getting into the semi-finals of the CAF Champions League is even a function of how well your economy is doing, or how much money is pumped into it. The likes of AS Vita, the likes of Esperance, the likes of Agli, the likes of Intensity, people have gone there with money. So AS Vita, and then there's the Agli Benghazi.
Yes,
it's money.
And perhaps you have to ask whether Kotoko has that money. Potentially, we are rich. I mean, the owner of the club sits on the golden stool. And so
but I mean, potentially everybody's rich. Even my club, Itala, is potentially we are rich.
I never knew you supported.
Yeah, I mean,
but the point is, potentially, the ability for Kotoko to raise money is there. But it has also been about how we've gone about our activities.
And everything. Let's talk about Labi Kumsin, and Rabiu Mohammed is the lieutenant of the money team. But Labi Kumsin, I was trying to do the assessment really, because even Augustine Okra, I think he's been in Kotoko, he was in Kotoko some time. Kotoko has had, I mean, Augustine Okra has also had spats of injuries in his life, in his career. And apparently the only time he didn't have an injury was when he got to Bechem United. He did well. Labi Kumsin as well has been in injury. You can tell me, you are the writer. Well, tell me, what's it about Labi Kumsin, injury upon injury?
I think naturally, injuries are part of football. We cannot do anything.
But if he reoccurs for a player, is it that he's probably not worked on something and it's leading on to another thing?
I cannot tell because I don't know his history too much. I can talk about some players I've known who were injury prone. And even them, it was difficult to ascertain exactly what was causing the injuries. In the case of Labi Kumsin, I think this is his first major injury at Kotoko. Major because, I mean, there have been a few knocks here and there. But this one I mean, it's quite serious. It was a training match that he was involved in. And I'm told, I wasn't there, I'm told that he went in for a challenge, an aerial challenge, which he didn't land well. And there seems to be a problem with his knee. As we speak, I mean, I cannot really use the medical terms because I don't even understand them. But the bottom line is that he has a knee injury, which is going to keep him out for 8 months, 6 to 8 months. And also, the good news for us is that I'm told that the surgery will be on Saturday. We've been able to raise the money, not exactly what we wanted, but I mean, something has been done to ensure that he undergoes the surgery, and whatever is left will be taken care of. And so it's not a pleasant situation. I remember about 2 seasons ago, Richard Yeboah also had a similar problem. Just in the run-up to the start of the season, he had an injury which kept him out throughout the season.
So let's see, Labi Kumsin.
We're just hoping
great job. Great to see Labi Kumsin. But how about your money and your winning? I mean, First Capital Plus, you won it. First Capital, you won the league. Do you have your money now? Because I remember doing a story where
I listened to that.
Kotoko was like, hey, look, we're not going to play the league. You don't pay us our money.
I listened to that interview with Nana Okesi, where he said that I think there's a mix-up, some miscommunication.
Whatever it is, have they given you money now?
The last time I checked, they were in the process of getting that done. I have not really checked whether it has arrived, but I mean, this is something that will come.
We want to see it happen.
No, I mean, First Capital Plus is a serious, institution. I mean, the Football Association is also a serious institution, just as Kotoko is, and I don't see any situation where one will say, I mean, we're not going to pay or we're not going to play. Definitely a compromise must be reached. And I mean, whatever any party is demanding will be done. What is worrying, however, is that I think the prize money or the trophy, something to reward Kotoko for last season or last 2 seasons has rather not come. And that's a problem. I mean, as
I don't get it. So is it that you haven't pushed for it? They haven't given it to you.
The last time
for the last 2 seasons, this is a level. And I'm sure after we're done with this court case, Kotoko will have to take somebody to court again.
These are issues that I think the FA should look at. It's so embarrassing that a whole league competition will be played at the end of the season. I mean, the champion is declared, but there is nothing given to that champion. The last time I checked was in March. And Sani, the FA spokesman, I mean, with all due respect to him, told me that it was going to come very soon, and we are in November.
No, because it's totally unfair. And so that in 2016 we probably might not be playing the league because Kotoko will take this further. It's about money.
I'm not sure Kotoko is going to drag the FA to court over this, but really? I mean, it is something that we should try and avoid, because it's so embarrassing. It's not the best.
Okay, yeah. Let's just wrap it up in terms of sponsorship. Is there anything new as well? I mean, sponsorship. What are your next friendlies? Let's talk about it. And for you, maybe before we even go there, for you, you've been following a training ground, a training pitch.
Yeah.
The name just skip me. Is it Stafford Chelsea? You have a training. Yes, that's right. That project. How far has it gone? Because I know you were following the King.
Yeah, it has stalled, mainly because of funds.
And that's not good news.
But
we felt that at least one,
course,
the two of you, somebody must take the step and do something.
It's not, but it has stalled. Mainly because of the flow of funds, which isn't forthcoming. But I'm sure this is something that the board is looking at. Very soon we'll hear some.
But there are also rumors that everything was started really by Dr. KK Sapon, and if he's not there, nothing's going to move. And was his plan? It was his idea.
It was.
It's everything, and the land. Probably maybe the place is for him.
No.
All the documents and everything are with him. And
the place was given to Kotoko by the chief of that area.
But if the documents
it cannot be for one person.
Cannot be for one person.
What is important is that the structure has started. Unfortunately, it has stalled. But I'm so convinced that it is something that we at Kotoko Express have even spoken about. We
I've heard you talk about that.
Yeah.
Personally, that's why the question came to mind.
It's so disappointing. But the board has given the assurance that they are looking at it. And you see, they cannot just move tractor and equipment there when you don't have the funds to do that. And so, as they are looking at that, let us give
next
them
friendlies, and in case there's any player going to be bought, maybe you're going to buy one more player from Joy Sports to join you. I'm ready. Number 11, I can join you.
I doubt if we'll be making any purchases, but I am told, in fact, this morning I was told that we are looking at a friendly with Olympics in Accra.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yes, and
now that's a great idea. Oligbobo.
Yeah,
and we get to see that.
Yeah,
Coach Duncan, Didi Drummond.
It is being discussed. I spoke to the coach. The coach wasn't aware, but this information was given to me by the general manager, which means that at the management level they are looking at it. Kotoko is resuming training tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow morning. We probably may play a match during the weekend, and then next Sunday we'll be in Accra, possibly.
Thank you very much, Jerome Autry. He writes for Kotoko. He says I should use the tag senior reporter, even though I know he's he's almost close to that, an editor anyway. But he says senior reporter for administrative and for official purposes. So let's keep it that way. But he's a fantastic journalist, and it's always great to be on site with him. Setting Jerome, thank you once again for joining us on the show. Big thank you to my producer Ernest Boama, to my director Eugene. I don't know what sort of mood he is in. Sometimes it depends on which club he's supporting. But they'll be very excited, Ernest and Eugene, to see Olympics play Kotoko. Oh, I'll be there personally. I want to see that game.
It's a game I'm looking forward to. It's been almost 5 years.
I want to see that game, and I promise that game will be better than Argentina-Portugal. I tell you, that game is going to be bad. Excellent one. Thank you very much for joining us as well on the show. As usual, you could watch the show again. There's going to be a repeat tomorrow on Joy Sports. Not only that, it's also going to be on YouTube where you can get to watch it. I'm George Ade Jr. and my cameraman, of course, has been Kwakwa as well. He will enjoy watching Olympics. I'm very sure about. We can't wait for that. That's the breaking news for tonight, really, that Kotoko are planning something there with Olympics to have a friendly underway. Thank you very much. Have a good night.